Hi guys, welcome back to the DxO PhotoLab 7 series. Now, I've had a request to do a video about the ReTouch tool. In PhotoLab 7, the ReTouch tool covers a range of different usages. One is repair, where you're removing objects that are interfering with the picture in some way or another, distractions and so on. And the other is cloning, where you want to copy items from one area of a picture to another. We're going to have a detailed look at that, all the functions of the tool, and we're going to go through a series of use cases from the very easy to the extremely difficult. Okay, let's get on with it. The first thing to do, I think, is talk about the picture, in fact. So let's go into full screen. Now, this is a sort of fairly ordinary landscape shot taken in Shropshire a few days ago during the course of my whistle-stop tour of the UK. There's a couple of distracting elements here. There's a bird flying across the screen over here, and there is a vapour trail crossing the clouds, sort of top centre there, that I'd like to get rid of. So we'll have a look at how we might do that using the ReTouch tool. So let's go back into the app, so press escape. And the first thing to say is that you should always do this at 100% view if you can. And the reason is that this tool basically copies pixels from other areas of the picture in order to refill. And that runs a risk of bringing in some unwelcome pixels. So let's have a go, first of all, at removing the bird. Right, we invoke the ReTouch tool from the Details panel. You can also get it from up here. Now, this bird's got a fair amount of good space between it and the trees. So I'm not going to go for a full feather here. Instead, I think I'd be better off with a slightly smaller brush and a slightly harder brush. And the reason for that is I don't want to bring in any unwelcome elements here. I just simply want to get rid of the bird. So we'll take this down, and I think that's going to probably do it quite well in repair mode. Okay. Let's see how that might have worked if we hadn't have taken the feather down. So let's clear that, reset. Now I'm now going to show you the danger that I was trying to avoid here. So we're resetting that, we'll take the feather up. There's the bird back again, right? So here, take my feather up, okay. And we've just about got away with it, but if you look at this very closely, you'll see that what's happening here is that the pixels that are brought in mirror the path of the, if you like, of the mask. So we're bringing in some pixels from the top of that tree there. And actually, if you look closely, you can see them. They're just there. So doing this at full feather is not going to work where you're very close to some other different shades, different colours in the picture. So I think the lesson here is always go for a good clean, where you've got a good clean difference, go for a good clean brush. So we'll reset that again. So we've taken the feather down, take it over there. You can see the outline of where the pixels are being retrieved from, and that should be a good clean repair. Okay, perfect. Reset that again, and let's see what happens when we do that with the clone tool. Change that into clone, Okay, a good hard brush. Okay, that's actually better than I expected it to be, but what I'll do is just to show you the issue between clone and repair. If I move that up a little bit so it includes some blue sky, you will see that reflected in the repair. Yep. Okay, so this is the kind of problem that you don't see if you do this at full scale. The other thing about doing this full scale, of course, is that the pinheads don't change size, so they actually obscure part of the repair. So yeah, always 100%. Okay, just to go over a couple of other bits here. If you're doing this in the sky against clouds, these outlines and the connecting arrow are very, very thin. You're going to need to change the line colour. And just to show this, if we take an area here, if we do a new one, take an area there, wait for it to choose. Now you can't actually see, or you can if you peer very closely, the outline there, but if I change that to white, or change it to some other contrasting colour, you can now see that perfectly clearly. Okay, so reset these masks and come away again. Now there is a slight danger here that you use the reset button to remove all of the masks. So let's just go back in, do this repair again, keep that down to a decent hard brush, go over it. Okay, now I've deliberately missed a part of this, and you'll see that in a second. Change our colours back so we can see them. I've chosen green, that's not quite as visible as magenta. Okay, and what I can do is I can use the Add tool just to brush that bit in. Okay, and this is not a new mask, this is the same old mask, so I turn my mask off, wait for that to settle, and there you go, perfect. A good, decent repair. Alright, so let's go to a slightly more difficult case. Now, this is the sort of thing that is a bit of a nightmare to change. Now here I probably would go for a more feathered brush, and this is something that I would think you would do very slowly, bit by bit. New stroke, new mask. Okay, and that's worked well. Okay, so we're doing this bit by bit. Now we're going to do the bit that's in the cloud. Not bad at all. I quite like that. And we'll do this bit. Okay, and that's quite decent. Okay, now we've got a bit in front of blue again. So we'll take that. Okay, now the thing to notice here is that, again, I've done this type of repair differently. So we're doing this in very small sections, giving the app the best chance of choosing the right pixels. We've used a big feather so it'll blend nicely, and we've managed to get rid of the vapor trail from this cloud area. Now I'm not going to go over the rest of it because it's actually just more of the same, but the thing to take away here is that you do this in very small strokes and always give the tool the best chance of finding a matching set of pixels. So don't mix the textures up, don't mix the colours up, and you'll have a good chance of success. Okay, now let's go for the most testing thing of all. Now, I have to say, I've tried this with other apps as well, and I can confidently predict that the tool is going to struggle here. This section is not a problem at all. We can easily do this. So let's just illustrate that. So we can use good feathering, so we're going to blend into the green. We've got good contrast. Take that. Remember to go to new stroke every time. I can confidently predict that this is going to be a practically perfect patch. And I'm completely wrong. Now, the reason for that, let's have a look at the mask. And what it's done is it's chosen an area over here. Now, what I did wrong here was that I gave it too much to remove. So remember that this is always going to extract its source pixels from an area that matches the size of your brush stroke. So in order to correct this, I should erase a good big portion of my thing, and I should probably remove or move this quite a bit as well. Let's see if we can grab that and move that and wait for it to resolve. Okay, now let's just touch this up a little bit. I think it's still going from the next bit. So we'll just take a small piece. Let's change my mask to cyan. Not really making much of a difference there. The trouble is these lines are so fine that at 100% they're very difficult to make out. Okay, we show the masks, turn the mask off. Okay, we can see we've made actually now a decent go at this. So you go back into new line. Remember, small bit, give it the best chance of choosing an area in the picture that is alike and doesn't include bits of the hedgerow and whatnot. And no, it's again, so turn the mask back on, and again it's chosen it from an area that includes the telegraph line. So this is not artificial intelligence, this is simply taking some neighbouring pixels and attempting to heal. So you have to manually move the mask to get that to work. There it goes, that's slightly better. Would probably want to take that a little bit further up. Okay, but you get the gist with removing areas of high contrast and the danger of leaving the mask to its own devices. Now, this next section is the difficult scenario, and let's try that. Right, these bits at the magnification we've got are going to be tricky, but we can probably get away with it. Now, the bit that is more difficult to get away with is here. So let's just take that in. New mask. Okay, it's taking it from there. That's not bad, that's acceptable. So again, I do new mask again. I'm taking a slightly bigger area now. Let's see where it chooses to get the pixels from. Okay, again, not so bad. A little bit more. Again, another new mask. This one I predict is not going to be quite as effective. Not so bad. take the masks off. Okay, and with this, if you look at this closely, you can see that it's been masked. So the last thing I want to demonstrate, actually, going back into 100% view, is this. Now, I'm not sure if we've got the best example here, but I'll show you so that we all understand how this works. So we're going to do a new mask. Now again, we're going to risk taking quite a big bit here. Wait and see where it chooses to take the pixels from. Okay, it's made a decent fist of that, so we'll do show masks. Yeah, it's taken them from a completely clean bit. Now, if we do change the mask, what we're doing here, we can see these grab points. Yeah, we can rotate it and so on. Now, what you're doing here is you can actually shift this about in order to include other areas. So we shift it up, we're going to get a bit of the hedge, or at least I hope we're going to get a bit of the hedge. Now, I know this is not a good example, I'm just demonstrating how the tool works. This is probably more appropriately done on things like hair and faces and whatnot. So that, as I suspected it would, looks less realistic. You can also change the scale here, so if I take that to include all of this, it's going to look even more less realistic. Come on, there it is. And you can see that we've actually sort of changed the scale of it. So we've magnified this bit and transported it in here, and that's not so great, to be perfectly honest, so I would take that back to a normal sort of size. Okay, so let's just quickly summarize. I think the learning points here, certainly with landscape photography, do this always at 100%. Do it tiny bit by tiny bit. Maintain an awareness of what this is going to look like in the finished photograph. So the best way to do that is, let's have a quick look at the finished picture. Okay, and we can see that the bird completely gone, no trace of the bird there. We've got rid of that top portion of the vapor trail quite convincingly, and at this magnification you can't really see the blemishes in the hedgerow. So workflow for the tool, basically choose whether you're doing a repair or a clone quite carefully. Cloning is really, the idea is that we can recreate bits. So let's say, for example, I wanted a molehill to create another molehill here. I would quickly go in to my ReTouch tool. I'd want to put my molehill here. Okay, I would go to clone mode and I would move my source to there. And there we see the molehill. So that's an example of how you would use the clone tool. So two things going on. Repair is to remove objects that you really don't want there. Clone is to bring in pixels from another area, which may involve putting a duplicate of something like a molehill that you want to, for reasons known only to yourself, include in the picture. Okay, all right, thanks for watching. This is I hope this has resolved some of the issues that people are having with the clone tool. Repair for removing clone for copying, use the line color to make the outline of your patches more obvious, and do the sort of 100% wherever you can, and that's the way to get a decent result. Okay, alright, thanks a lot, and we'll see you in the next video.